sit there. I'll record it just in case.
There is no night without a dawn, no winter without a spring, and beyond the dark horizon, our hearts will once more sing. For those who leave us for a while have only gone away, out of a restless, careworn world, into a brighter day. Well, good afternoon everyone, my name is Stuart Holt and I'm an independent sacrament. I'd like to offer you all a very warm welcome on a chilly sort of day, as we join together in love and of course, in friendship, to celebrate Philip's life, known to just about everyone, of course, as Phil. Well, to prepare for a day just such as this is an unlikely. But the passing of a loved one does lay us a challenge. It reminds us not to waste any time. It reminds us to say just how much we really love each other. As a clever old bear by the name of Winnie the Pooh once said, how lucky am I to have something that makes saying goodbye so very hard. The sorrow we feel when we lose a loved one is the price we pay to have happened in our lives. And grieving doesn't make you imperfect. It certainly doesn't make you weak either. But it does make you human. And where there's deep grief, there's also great love. So please, never ever be in any doubt. Everyone that we love, all those that we care for deeply, are always going to remain a part of us. And equally, a special friend is very hard to find, very hard to lose, and quite rightly always impossible to forget. But memory is a way of holding on to the things that you love and the people that you never want to lose. Because though death may indeed end a life, it can never, ever break a loving relationship. Speaking with the insight of her long experience, our current monarch, Queen Elizabeth, perhaps summed it up at the very best when she said that good memories are our second chance at happiness. The event of death has a way of uniting us in a manner that perhaps no other circumstance can, because we're reminded of our own mortality, the sheer fragility of life itself. But death is simply a gateway, and it's a gateway we're all going to pass through. Along with birth, it is our one truly common experience. I'm sure, though, from what I've heard, you certainly know about Phil. He wouldn't want anyone here today to remember him with any sadness at all. Far from it. Well, it's now my privilege to read a loving tribute to Phil from his family. But just a little about the world first into which Phil was born. Now in the UK, these were times of great change. King George VI was on the throne, and Prime Minister Clement Attlee was leading a Labour government. The Second World War was finally at an end, and we were struggling to return to a peacetime routine. Many thousands of servicemen and women were returning to civilian life, rationing just about everything worth having: bread, sugar, milk, petrol, clothing, continued to bite very hard. Wasn't a great time to bring a precious new life into the world. However, on the upside, Sir Alexander Fleming had been awarded the Nobel Prize for the wonder drug penicillin. George Orwell, the author, was publishing his latest book, Animal Farm. At the movies, Gene Kelly and Frank Sinatra were packing them in with Anchors Away, and Trevor Howard was also doing the same thing with Grief and Canto. On the airwaves, singer Perry Como and Lovers Everywhere dancing till the end of time. So it wasn't all good. Oh, what an entrance that was by Philip's family. Phil was born on Friday the 14th of September 1945 in Hillingdon. The story takes us on his life journey from Southall to South Africa and then back to Northampton. Phil was the second-born son of four brothers raised by his father John Joseph Jones and mother Lily Jones. He had a happy childhood, and growing up in Southall, Middlesex, Phil attended the same schools as his brothers. After starting out at the local primary, he moved on up to Dormer Wells Secondary Modern, which apparently wasn't really very modern at all. Phil's passion for football was born here, playing for his school team. He soon became a very keen supporter of Southall United, before long an enormous fan of Arsenal. After leaving school, Phil kept playing for local teams, but his other passion was fishing, and he took Dennis many times to Canal and to the AEC mill pond. At school, Phil had excelled in metalwork, so on leaving Dormer Wells, he began a 5-year apprenticeship at the AEC Truck and Bus Company in Southall, with transport around the city streets, courtesy of a nippy little scooter. Attending Southall Technical College, he successfully passed all of his exams and gained his city and guilds. Phil was truly a Southall born and bred boy, and he loved taking the family to the open days to see all the trucks and buses that he built. Staying very fit, Phil continued to play football until suffering an accident at work. Now, when he was around 20 years old, Phil fell from a truck in the AEC factory, and he landed heavily on his knees. This resulted in a serious operation and the removal of both kneecaps, which was quite a major procedure in those days. Thereafter, all of his mates called him Zipper because of the huge scars on his knees. The doctors told Phil, "You will never play football again." But how wrong they were. Phil was as tough as iron. He trained for a good few years and then started to play football again. In fact, Phil continued to play well into his 30s. His great passion for Arsenal never waned. Phil seldom missed a home match, and he was at Highbury that he met a friend to this day called John Pammond. The two chums went on to many of the matches together and eventually also on holidays. These breaks included a couple of adventurous trips to Spain in a Mini, which was quite silly in those days. One of Phil's big Arsenal moments was being able to take up a chunk of turf from the old pitch. He treasured, watered, and carefully tended this memento, keeping it on the windowsill in his flat. Phil fell in love with Pat, and the pair were married and acted in West London. In 1974, they emigrated to South Africa, and in 75, Phil and Pat were blessed with the birth of a precious baby daughter, Caroline, who to this day still lives in South Africa. Phil loved his daughter and his grandchildren very much. He worked in South Africa for many years, travelling to Botswana, Zimbabwe, and all over Africa, continuing to be employed on producing trucks. While Phil was in South Africa, he met another long-time friend by the name of Dave Stanton, and over the years, the two very good friends have always kept in close touch. Phil did indeed have a love of travelling. He devoted much time and effort into carefully planning each and every adventure. Even when his health was poor, his enthusiasm for history took him to Egypt and to Greece. His last and perhaps most unusual destination was to Albania. One of the qualities that makes a brother special is giving you advice but still letting you make mistakes on your own. A man with an excellent sense of humour and who always was very good company. Phil moved house a lot in his lifetime. His last move was to Naseby Court, and he was very happy in his new surroundings. He got on extremely well with his care staff and enjoyed joining in the activities of the common room. Very typical of Phil's generous and kindly nature was that when children visited from local schools, he always made sure he had sweets to give them. Phil was a true character, and he lives on through his family, his daughter Caroline, grandchildren Tatum, Drew and Logan, plus his brothers Brian, Dennis and Ray. Phil will be very deeply missed by us all. Now words of love from across the globe in South Africa. Sadly, because of the pandemic, Phil's daughter Caroline cannot be with us today, but she sends her loving tribute to her father. Neil, would you step forward, please?
start. Goodbye is the hardest thing to say, especially a goodbye I didn't want to say. It's the moments that you should treasure, and this would be the way I would like to remember you, my dad. The three things my dad was always loyal in life, and that his team Arsenal, the Queen, and history. His team Arsenal, well, I don't think my dad missed a game. I remember the first game he took me to. It was Arsenal v Luton, and I froze. It was so cold. My dad was just in his element, and no rain or snow would make him leave. He was proud of his team, and would be very emotionally involved in the games. If they lost, well, the house was quiet. We will keep watching for you, Dad. Maybe we can convince Ray to support the team when they are not playing Chelsea. Sure, you will enjoy seeing that one. My dad was passionate about history, and his dream was to be an archaeologist. In those days, money was an issue, but never stopped my dad from learning and educating us both. He'd taken me to see every museum in London and parts of South Africa. He always made things fun and interesting. I got to see many places as a child, and my dad loved travelling and did it right to the end. He loved seeing different places and always history behind them. I'm glad and grateful for him giving me them experiences that many people have the chance to have. To me, he was a walking history book. The Queen. Well, I could not say anything bad about this lady. He even used to carry a postcard picture of her inside his briefcase. Not sure if anyone knew, but he applied to be a Queen's Guard, and apparently he was not the right height. I do believe he would have made an amazing guard and most definitely have protected her wholeheartedly. Again, the history behind his family was very important to him. Dad, I'm so glad that I got to spend the majority of my childhood with you. You taught me so much about life and choices, and it is not material things to live by, but the experiences we experience. And that is keeping a promise which is forever. You've always said, when you go one day, there'll be one thing they could never take, and that was your experiences. You never broke your promises and always did the best you could do for me, being a single dad of a young girl. It has been really hard being so far away from you and not being able to be on your side, but that I did see you every day and I spoke to you when I could. I love you, Dad, and I always will. The hardest thing will be not being able to hear your voice again or speak to you weekly. I will continue to be part of the Jones family, and I know you would want that in your memories, and we will be with them always. There is so much to say, but each day I will talk to you in a special place and tell you that I love you every day. I will be that lady you brought me up to be an amazing mother to Tatum, Drew and Logan, and I love them as you loved me. I will always remember the dedication and support that you've given me through my life, and I will follow that through to my children. To me, you were the best dad in the world, kind, passionate, and I had much love given to me by you. You've always had me in your heart. I want to thank the family, Uncle Dennis and Ray. Wow, what amazing brothers you are, and you were to my dad. I know he loved you both very much and was always proud to be in your lives with you and lived. You've always made him a big part of the family, and you went on many adventures with him over the past few years. He was always so excited for those holidays. The excitement in his voice when he would talk and would be telling me all about the trip. You were both an inspiration and true brotherhood. My dad was so lucky to call you brothers, and I'm so lucky to have the greatest uncles. Thank you to all my cousins who have been part of Dad's life, keeping him young over the past years. Neil and Jason, thank you for going to hospital and being there with the family and standing by your dads in this difficult time. Thank you, Faye Georgina, for the support you have given the girls in this time. It means the world to me. A special thank you to the strong two women to keep it all afloat, Auntie Madeline and Auntie Helen. I'd like to leave a quote now. Quote, Life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take your breath away. This is how I would always like to remember you, Dad.
That's worth a round of applause, isn't it? Very well done. Well done by Caroline. I'd like the memory of me to be a happy one. I'd like to leave an afterglow of smiles when life is done. I'd like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways of happy times and laughing times and bright and sunny days. I want the tears of those who grieve to dry before the sun of happy memories that I leave when my life is done. Well, we've reached the point in our service where I'd like to invite you just to sit and relax as we listen to another piece of favourite music. So just remember what Phil meant to each of you. If you haven't faith, well, this is probably a good moment to say your own silent prayers.
I saw the light fade from the sky. On the wind I heard a sigh. As the snowflakes cover my fallen brothers, I will say this last goodbye. Night is now falling. So is this day. The road is now calling, and I must away over hill and under tree, through lands where never light is shone, by silver streams that run down to the sea. Under cloud, beneath the stars, over snow and winter's morn, I turn at last to paths that lead on. Though where the road then takes me, I cannot tell. We came all this way, but now comes the day to bid you farewell. Many places I have been, many sorrows I've seen, but I don't regret, nor will I forget all who took that road with me. Night is now falling, so ends this day. The road is now calling, and I must away over hill and under tree, through lands where never light is shone, by silver streams that run down to the sea. To these memories I will hold, with your blessing I will go.
of success, who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who has gained the respect of intelligent men and women, and the love of children, who has filled his niche and accomplished his task, who leaves the world better than he found it, who has never lacked appreciation of earth's beauty, or failed to express it, who looked for the best in others, and gave the very best he had. So let's now take another brief moment just to say thank you. Thank you for Phil's life, for those times of friendship and of love and of fun shared with him. We give thanks. At the end of his journey through this life, we commemorate his activities and his many achievements, whether as a sporty schoolboy, representing his school and supporting Southall, getting behind the gunners and as a big fan of fishing, as an apprentice engineer, studying for the skills to last a lifetime, overcoming serious injury and motoring to Spain in the Mini, starting a new life in South Africa and doting on his precious daughter, jetting around the globe with a thirst for travel, and as a passionate patriot with a hankering for history. But most of all, as a loyal and loving brother, father, uncle, grandfather, and true friend, we salute and we celebrate the life of a unique and irreplaceable man. Would you now please stand for the hymn? We must now say our formal farewells to Phil. But please remember, the memories that you have are going to remain strong as you carry within you something of Phil himself. Phil, you will live on with us and through us as long as we ourselves have life. Phil Philip Terence Jones, your courage we admire, your departure with reluctance we must accept. Your memory we will dearly cherish. In grief at your death, but in great gratitude for your life and for the privilege of sharing it with you. We commit your body to be cremated, so rest now at the end of your days on this earth, and may you remain forever in the hearts and the minds of all those you love and all those who love you. Would you please take a seat? Without any doubt at all, Phil lived an interesting, fulfilling and rewarding life. He certainly held his precious family and his friends very close. And in return, he was truly loved and he was respected. So now for you all, may the comfort of all these warm memories and your hopes for the future give you strength and give you peace as you leave here and you go forward together. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our service in celebration of Phil's life. I know his family would like to thank you for your support and your attendance today. Hugely appreciated. However, before we depart, I'd like to leave you with these old but still, I feel, exceedingly wise words. Please always remember this. Life is mostly froth and bubble, but two things stand like stone: kindness